Let's talk Golden State Warriors. Welcome back. I hope you had a great day, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm going to be honest today. I'm a little bit mad right now. Heat up. I just recorded this entire video and found out that was without audio. And also, I'm not happy at all with the rumors around Kelly Olynyk potentially heading to the Warriors. We're going to discuss this here today. We're also going to talk about Andrew Wiggins. Is he playing on Wednesday or not? What is going on with him and for the preseason and for the future at the Warriors, right? So let's talk about Kelly Olynyk. A couple of days ago, or actually yesterday, I was responding one of the comments here in the channel. You all probably already know I respond most of them, if not all. And then one of the followers suggested that the Warriors should trade for Kelly Olynyk, as you can see here. So he suggested that the Warriors should flip Gary Payton II, Kevin Looney, 2 second rounds pick for Kelly Olynyk, which could be a stretch 5. I agree with him, and it makes sense. We're going to talk more about it. I don't like this. I do think that what the Michael Dunleavy Jr. said about not making any trade that wouldn't be an all-in, meaning you wouldn't change the level for the Warriors and putting us as a title contender, it doesn't make sense right now because it would sacrifice a lot. Just to give my opinion, I wouldn't see why the Toronto Raptors would accept this trade without involving a first-round pick. And we'll talk more about that. So it would sacrifice a lot. 2 assets that we have, first-round pick or even 2 second-round pick in the best-case scenario, for something that won't change us. It won't put the Warriors as a title contender. So for me, it doesn't make sense. So let's look a little bit more about Kelly Olynyk over his career, his stats, and his characteristics, right? So first of all, when you look here, obviously, he's a bigger center than the ones we have when you say Trace Jackson and you think about Kevin Looney. So he will bring that size and that strength that we discuss so much. He's also a better shooter than both of them, right? He was above 35% shooting from 3 last season. So it would solve a few problems for the Warriors, such as the fact that Steve Kerr wants to pair Draymond Green and Jonathan Kuminga, and Kuminga playing as a 3, the thing that he lacks is the fact that he's not a shooter. He's really athletic. He attacks the rim, but we know he's not a really good shooter. He needs to improve that. So at the moment, if you really want to play Kuminga on that position with Draymond Green, you need someone to replace that shooting volume, right? And that would be the center that we have. We also signed, and that's a point that I make that I think we should look more careful on that instead of making a trade. We also signed Quinton Post. Quinton Post is 7 feet tall. He's even taller than Olynyk. He's also a really good shooter. So he could be the guy to develop to that spot. I think it's more valuable to look carefully and with love in that sense instead of actually sacrifice this trade. And don't miss the opportunity to get all kinds of Golden State Warriors products with discount. And if you are in the US, there is also free shipping. You can get t-shirts like this one. You can get hats. You can get any of those frames back there. Anything of the Golden State Warriors you will find there, and they are all official products. Just use the link, buy it, and you can get amazing discounts. So the other point that bothers me a little bit that becomes a concern, especially for next season, is Olynyk contract. So look at this. He just signed something with the Toronto Raptors. He actually signed a 2-season deal with $12.8 million this season and then $13.4 next season. Let's compare with the suggested Gary Payton and Kevin Looney. They're both in their last year of contract. So we have an $8 million deal with Looney right now and a $9.1 million deal with Gary Payton. So we would still have something for this season that we would free up space in our cap, but we would compromise $13.4 million from next season, which would block us from other stuff. Keep in mind that we need to decide this season what we do with Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga. They both need to be renewed right now, or they will become a restricted free agent in the next season. So we need to make a decision about that. And so we need that space for the future, right? To not say about the second or first round picks that we would to have to put in this mix. Because look, the way that Olynyk is in the Toronto Raptors right now, he could be a starter if you think on performance. But the Toronto Raptors are rebuilding, right? They have a lot of young guys there, including a center. So, and he was already said in a few media interviews, not getting too much in detail, but that they intend to invest in the development of guys right now versus immediately winning. So, and that was clear when they moved Pascal Siakam, when they moved other players there. So I think Olynyk will be coming from the bench. But if the Toronto Raptors made him available for trade, I don't think the Warriors would be the only one interested. So it won't be that simple to bring him. It will require assets. It will require picks and potentially a first-round pick. So I think that's a problem combined with the salary, with the fact that we have another guy, young, that could develop. He could come and be that stretch five that we need in the future. The other point I want to make, if you compare with Looney, for example, he's a 33 years old. He's already heading towards the end of his career. Looney is 5 years younger than him. He's 28. So we are also like, if we want to invest on Looney a little bit further the next season, which I don't think will happen, but you also have that difference, right? So I don't think this trade would pay off for this season, neither for the next one. At least wouldn't put us in another level, and plus we would sacrifice assets that potentially we could use before February 16 for a better trade, a trade where it would be a blockbuster that would involve those assets, more picks, but also would bring to the Warriors a really all-star level player, right? So I think the path that the Warriors are building right now is very strategic, is smart, and I agree with that. It's start the season, see who is stepping up, see who is not. Like, just look for the first preseason game. No one was expecting, and I said here, you can look in this video, about Moses Moody and Lynn Waters III. They were the guys really playing well. D'Anthony Melton as well was a surprise. So when you start the season, you give the opportunity to see what's going on. Who is really coming? What Kuminga we will see this season? Andrew Wiggins, is it being the Andrew Wiggins of 2022? Or he's just building up on the worst season of his career that it was the last one, right? So we'll first analyze of that, and then you're capable of making a smart decision and then going big if you need to pair someone with Stephen Curry and potentially win now. But if you're going to sacrifice the future of the organization, you need to be really smart about that. One thing that I beg you, Warriors fan, try to keep in mind that not everything stays as it is today, right? Meaning that we tend to think someone is doing well in another team, they will come and things will work. He'll play as good. He's going to do the same amount of points. He's going to be maybe even better. Sometimes it just doesn't. Like, just look, when Kevin Durant left for Brooklyn Nets and paired with Kyrie Irving, it didn't work. When Irving was in the Boston Celtics, it didn't work. There's so many other examples. I just mentioned two that came to my mind quickly. But it just not necessarily making those big trades as well. It means that we will come and immediately win. Sometimes you might sacrifice all of this and things fall apart. So we're going to be very mindful about it. And I think that the Warriors GM and the Warriors organization, despite all that the media is saying and pressuring, we are doing well. Just by the way, one comment that mentions that recently the Bleacher Report released the preseason ranking, and the Warriors are in the 14th spot. So we are above the average, let's call it this way, or above we are in the upper part of the table, right? If you count that we have 30 teams total. And that's without doing any of those big trades. So it's a little bit, keep in mind, there's always a little bit of pressure of doing these blockbuster deals. People want things to talk about. They want to be able to judge who was the winner, who was the loser of those trades. So when things doesn't happen, everyone's pressuring for someone to make it. Like, they just want things to also discuss. I think the Warriors did right. Draymond Green mentioned about it. They were really smart of keeping calm and not letting that pressure get into their minds. I think the Warriors are in the right path right now. We have a roster that is really depth, and that's really important for winner teams. If Andrew Wiggins come in, play well this season, bounce back, we have a really, really good team to compete for a deep playoff run, and then potentially bringing one more guy to fit that gap and making a title run. It requires a little bit of things, but we gotta wait and see. Jonathan Kuminga, another case, he's taking leaps every year. What is happening this season? We need to wait and see. We need to keep calm on that. Talking about Andrew Wiggins, he's going to be out for the second preseason game on Wednesday against Sacramento. Reminding, the Warriors are back to California. They will play against Sacramento there, and then they come back on Friday to play at the Chase Center. So Wednesday, Wiggins ruled out. He's still under the weather. He's recovering. They will give him a little bit more time, but the Warriors are not concerned about him. We still have 4 more games. Actually going to put the schedule on the screen right now. And then you can see the Warriors will play against the Kings, and then the Kings again, as I said, Wednesday and Friday. And then we still have a game against the Detroit Pistons, and then 2 games against the Lakers. So plenty of time for Wiggins to be in the mix, to understand everything that is going on. And he actually was there, right? If you see all the footage of Hawaii, he was there. He was watching everything that was going on with the Warriors. Last, to wrap again on the Olynyk topic, I want to show a comparison between Olynyk and Kevin Looney. So take a look at this. When you look at the stats, it's very mixed, right? So as I said, Olynyk is a better three-point shooter. That would be actually the main factor to bring him. He's bigger than Looney, but it's not too much bigger, but he's bigger. So I think, and the points, right? So when you look at the points, immediately caught my attention by one fact. I understand that it's double the amount of points as a career stat, but there's one factor there. We never asked Looney to be a shooter. He played at the Warriors when we had Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Damian Lee, Otto Porter Jr., Don DiVincenzo, and many other ones that were actually shooters, and it was given to them the priority of doing that. So Looney already told that, and he told that in not in the media. I think in the media day he said, it wasn't required from me of shooting. Now that Klay is gone, everyone is stepping up to shoot more, so we might see a little bit more. So that is also a factor why Looney was a smart guy. He understood that to be part of this dynasty that was the Warriors' very champion team, shooting and scoring, it wasn't what was required from him. And so I think he did well. And considering that he's 5 years younger than Olynyk right now, I think he changed his shape for the season. It doesn't make sense to sacrifice all those picks on that. So I want to know your opinion. Right here in the comments, let me know what you think about Kelly Olynyk. Would you pull that trade right now? What are your thoughts? Or would you wait? Would you do something else? And if you want to know everything about the Warriors dynasty, how good they were actually, just watch this video here.